Alright, folks. Yes, indeed, we are getting into the next game very, very quickly here. It's going to be on TotalBiscuit. It's now down to effectively a best of 5, these guys having traded wins in this series thus far. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Twitch TV Invitational. If you just tuned in, you've missed a close series thus far for the finals between Empire.Kas, who is in the blue trunks playing Terran to the west of the TotalBiscuit, and his opponent, mouz.MaNa. He is in the green trunks playing Protoss to the southeast. So, a brief analysis of what just happened. Both of these guys pretty much went for the same build. However, there was a difference in playstyle this time. Mana got a bit of initial harassment going on, which we didn't really see in the first game. He was just kind of left alone, and that, I think, was the problem. But Kas got some really heavy harassment. He went for nasty Marauder drops. The first drop failed, but the second drop was very effective, exploiting the fact that Protoss is perhaps weakest when spread out across 3 bases initially. Goes in with the drop, kills about 16 probes total. That's well, at that time was the entire mineral line. Mana starts to fall behind economically, and then Mana has a nasty engagement in the center. His initial push did a lot of damage, but then the second wave of reinforcements from Kas and the remainder of the initial army was able to catch his opponent out of position. Mana saw it coming, in fact, but was not able to react quickly enough and was caught in a nasty concave. And by the time that Kas came knocking on the door of Mana, Mana just did not have the forces to repulse him. And that's how it went down. So I suppose the answer to Kas's question, how do you beat a passive Protoss? You go and drop him. You go and do damage once he takes his third. That's exactly what you do, and that's exactly what he did. And you know what? It worked really, really well. Kas with pretty much perfect control and perfect engagements there as well. He didn't make a single error as far as I can see. His ghost control was excellent. He did start getting ghosts earlier than he did in the previous game, and that shut that down completely. I also like the fact that he didn't overcommit to Vikings. He balanced his Viking count out quite nicely, and he had a good amount of scouting information. So, nicely played there by Kas, and that's the kind of gameplay that we expect to see from him. However, Mana is not out yet, certainly not. It's 1 apiece, it's down to a best of 5. Everything pretty much resets once again. A lot of money on the line for this tournament. Mana has his reputation of coming in second in pretty much every tournament. It's not entirely correct. If I recall correctly, he actually won the ESAT a few months back. And I'm pretty sure he's won one of the Gigabyte Cups as well. Or either that was Go 4 SC2. I think it was a Go 4 SC2. Unfortunately for him, he's taken a lot of second places in a lot of major tournaments, invitationals, and LAN events. Like pretty much any invitational he's in, he often takes a second place in it. Most recently in the Scan Invitational. Took second place at Assembly. You can go and have a look on his Liquipedia page and you'll notice how many silver medals he's got there. And there's nothing wrong with taking second place. You get a lot of cash for that. I mean, Mana is a well-paid pro. He's done very well in that regard. But it comes down to player pride as well. He wants the win. And in this matchup, he should be able to take it. He's got a Terran, as opposed to a Zerg. He always ends up getting Zerg in his finals, which is his weakest matchup. Mana was actually training with Stefano for a while in order to beat Zerg, and his PvZ has increased in standard by orders of magnitude. But you're still talking about beating players of the caliber of Stefano, Nurcio, Damaga. It's difficult. His PvT, however, is the stuff of legend. Now, this is an interesting change in build order here from Kas. That is a mass rack strategy. This is a deviation here. Wants to get aggressive earlier. I'm liking this adaptation in his play here. He's going with a gasless marine style, which actually is really, really effective. If he's able to keep up with this and he's able to get a force of a significant size, he can destroy Mana early on in the game before Mana can get Colossus out. It really depends on what Mana decides to do, though. Mana's only got 2 gateways against 5 racks, of course. 2 gateways is nowhere near enough, even with just vanilla Marines. Kas is going to scout that. Well, at least he's going to scout the expansion, now that that's happened. I'm interested to see how this one goes. Another gateway being added on. Warp Gate Tech is nowhere near done yet. 4 Marines at a time. It will be 5 Marines coming out very, very shortly here for Kas. And Kas is in a closer ground position. He could do so much damage here. Finally taking the gas to follow that one up, but this initial push is going to hurt. It really, really is. Mana's going to have a lot of trouble actually dealing with this. He's going to need quite a few Stalkers. He's going to need good force field placement. He's going to need to have great micro as well, and I have to wonder what Mana's actually thinking. That's a lot of Marines to spot there. It's not all of them. He's kept a number up behind, which I do very much like, but Mana's going to be thinking to himself, well, hum-de-hum. That's quite a few Marines there. That's clearly not 1 rack's worth. That's more than 1. What are you planning on doing? Twilight Council coming in right here. I would imagine a follow-up of Blink Stalker would be a very sensible thing to do. His Blink Stalker control would allow him to survive such a push. However, this push is going to come before those Blink Stalkers arrive. Another 5 Marines on the way. That's 21 on the field in total. It's going to be a nasty, dangerous push. Mana only has 3 Stalkers, a Sentry, and a Zealot, which is nowhere near enough to actually stop this. Ooh, and the Probe missed it. Is it going to see it? Is it going to see it? Oh, there you go. It gets the Scout. It knows what's coming. But Blink is nowhere near ready. 3 more gateways being added on to try and deal with this. But Kas is coming up the ramp already. It's going to be pretty damn tricky. Guardian Shield now deployed. Kas stimming forward, well, not so much stimming forward, jogging forward at a reasonable pace. They're very enthusiastic, but look at this Stalker control right here by Mana. Oh, he loses another Stalker. Marine control by Kas is really, really good as well. So now dancing his way into that middle line. More reinforcements coming in. Trying to get a good position. And oh, that Stalker very, very close to going down. Mana with excellent control, but loses that one again. And this push will be defeated, but there's a lot more damage coming in, a lot more Marines coming in as well. And yes, whoever's stimming that, we freaking pinging that, we do have eyes. Alright, gun it down. Gun it down. Mercilessly. There it goes. There's enough Stalkers now on the field to throw this back, but I have to wonder how much economic damage this did. That's how much. 11 workers killed. That's pretty significant. I don't know who the hell was lagging there. It just came up for... It's the problem with having too many casters in the game, folks. It really, really is. Anyway. What have we got? So, Kas did delay his gas a lot in order to do that. He did a lot of economic damage, but now he's going up against Blink Stalkers. His only answer at the moment is 3 Marauders and 5 Marines. That is not enough. He needs more Marauders, he knows that. Concussive Shell is on the way, and Mana desperately wants to get there before that tech switch happens. Unfortunately, he can't do that. He needs to get up the ramp, he knows it, and goes straight for the Marauders. Single one down, second one going down as well. A nice bit of Blink Stalker micro. He hasn't lost a single one yet, and a lot of SCVs being pulled off the line here. Mana getting really, really aggressive. Needs to start blinking out of that. Even SCVs in large enough numbers can do significant damage. Look at that. It's ballet going on right here, but the bunker is now complete. 5 Stalkers at a time coming out right here for Mana. Takes his total to 11. Doesn't have Robo, so he can't really get any vision up that ramp here. He'd have to perhaps sacrifice a Stalker, maybe blink it forward, and then blink the rest up onto the cliff. Does he have enough units to make that work? Can he actually see? He has vision. There we go. He's right past that defense. Nice bit of movement right here by Mana. How much damage is going to be done? This is the vicious counterattack. Some nasty stuff coming in, but that is a lot of Marauders he's got to deal with. He's going to need some exceptional control to deal with that. Blinking off there and taking so little damage. It's incredible. He only loses a single Stalker. Now he's equalized the worker count quite nicely, taking down 35 SCVs and 2 mules to 44 probes. 2 more mules coming in to reinforce. Kas building as many Marauders as he can. Stim is about to complete. Mana's still looking for a way in. He's not going to find one. What he can do is to expand behind this. He's sufficiently secure to do that. Might take out that bunker, and with that amount of firepower, yeah, he should be able to do it. The SCVs will not be there in time. Takes it out. Once again, no Stalkers lost. That one might end up being. It's been slowed down. No blink available, but still a reasonable trade. And there's a stim forced as well, and no medevacs on the field either to deal with that. I like the fact that Kas didn't actually stim everything. That was quite nice there. Unfortunately, a lot of his army actually left behind. And a nice little bit of harassment here by Mana, able to pick off a couple of Marauders, losing a Stalker, and in fact a second one, so that evens things up just a smidge. Army supply count currently in favor of Kas as well. Still no medevacs on the field. But enough Marauders to shut down any real Blink Stalker play. And this is the kind of time where you want to be thinking about chargelets, which is exactly what Mana is currently doing. Mana is adapting to Kas's tech switches quite nicely. I'm liking that. Going to be into a standard Marine Marauder medevac play with a Marauder heavy force here from Carson. Large force of chargeless would be able to shut that down quite well, especially with sentry support, which is what we're going to be getting there. Third base has been taken here for Mana, and Kas looking to take his third as well. It's interesting to see this series evolve, actually, over the course of several games. The infamous scouting factory on its way. And what else do we got? And we've got an engineering base, second one, in fact. Looking for heavy upgrades, so nothing really all that surprising out of Kas, honestly. Switching into what he's comfortable with and what he knows is absolutely effective against Protoss. And what have we got now? Well, Mana has switched over. He's not building any more Stalkers. He's building a lot of Zealots, which is exactly what he should be doing here. Also a Pylon, so he's got the option to warp down. Stalkers need to get out of there. The infamous scouting factory never did anything to you. You have to understand that. Be calm, be cool, Don't beat on the factory, it's merely the messenger. Got Storm coming up as well. Very nice. Limited medivacs coming out from Kas. He's been delayed so much because of that early game pressure he put on. And that's where you've got to wonder, well, was it actually worth it? I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think a smarter man than me needs to decide that. Quick blink away. Wants to take out a Marauder. Doesn't manage to do so. Push coming in through the center here. However, it's going to meet with some fairly hefty resistance, but that's merely a distraction because there's a double drop coming in here. And that Templar Archives could actually get shut down. Stopping the Storm would be absolutely crucial. That's exactly what he's going to go do. And he should be able to take it out as well. Oh, down it goes. Nicely done there by Kas. Absolutely fantastic. Gets away with the majority of his forces as well. And that's a massive kick in the teeth. Storm was almost ready. And now he's going to come in with his two-pronged attack. Does he have the numbers? A nice blink. It doesn't take the medevac out, however. Force fields deployed and chargelets coming in, slicing their way through that Marauder count. However, Kas with enough upgrades, Kas with enough units to do significant damage. Another drop coming in. That's going to get shut down. Kas with a bit of an error there to feel that he just lost control of that for a second. However, one should not underestimate the amount of damage that was done there, particularly in terms of tech. Shutting down Storm, so vital. Those two High Templar are pretty much useless now. And another force is coming in from Kas, and it's not going to be having to deal with Psystorm. In fact, tech-wise, Mana's in a bit of a pickle. Marine Marauder Medivac versus Gateway units. Well, usually the Gateway units would win in that scenario. Especially if they're supported by enough Medivacs. Currently only 3 on the field, but it's going to be 5 very, very shortly here. And I have to wonder if Mana's got the forces to break this. He does have an army supply advantage. Depends how he engages here. If he's able to snipe off the third, that'll be an absolutely stellar engagement for him, assuming he can do it without taking too many losses. Ghost Academy up on the way, and as I said, pure Gateway against Marine Marauder Medivac Ghost. No. He knows he needs tech, he's rebuilding his Templar Archives, but still, he is several minutes away from having Storm again. And Kas is continuing to build very rapidly. Kas is about to have +2 weapon, which gives him the edge over Mana in terms of upgrades. This engagement here could end up going very, very badly for Mana. And here he goes. That's a massive Storm right there. Hang on a second. Did he finish Storm? I thought he'd shut that down. Apparently not, but there you go. Another massive Storm right there to the back. A lot of damage done, but still, is the third going to die, more to the point? A quick blink right over there. A lot of Stalkers going in there, and a lot of damage being done, but Kas should be able to hold this. And that was not all that effective. I honestly didn't think he had Storm. I thought he shut that down. Apparently he didn't. Storm must have completed just before that base actually died. Storm was very effective. It did an awful lot of damage. I think Kas maybe didn't realize that Storm was coming in. He ate it in the face, but nicely defended there. But still, look at the number of probes killed. Unbelievable. In the meantime, behind all of that, Zealots got into this base here and completely destroyed Kas's economy. I'm not even sure how I actually missed that. Good God. 62 workers killed? Some insane nonsense going on between these two. But Kas is in a horrible economic position. 68 probes versus 24 SCVs. Kas only has that army, and already Mana has surged ahead. Now with plenty more Templar as well. It's going to be difficult to catch up for right here for Kas. I definitely want to look at the replay and find out how he actually did that. He certainly wasn't in warp-in position. He must have just run them straight up in the third base there, I guess. Or at least while he was engaged at the third base. Might have a quick look at the replay after this. I'd like to see how that went down. I wouldn't want to go in there. No. Even with that number of medivacs, there's still a ton of storms, and the ghosts aren't really sorted out yet. They'll be able to get them momentarily. Kas playing catch-up. A lot of mules, but still. That's the income comparison. It's not looking all that pretty for Kas. 35 SCVs and 4 mules. 4 bases now up for Mana. All sorted out over here. And once again, we're back in a situation where Kas is not able to harass Mana, and that means that he is very likely to lose from this point. Unless you can do significant economic damage and win a big engagement. And honestly, how do you win a big engagement against Protoss with that many storms? Generally, you don't. You don't come out of that engagement unscathed. You come out with barely any forces left, and a simple warping cleans up the rest of what you've got, but there you go. Kas having to play really defensively, and Mana is getting close to being maxed out here. Once that happens, horrible things will occur, and this Colossus tech switch is going to catch Kas completely off guard unless he scans and sees it. Second Robo facility coming in to make sure that that works, and +3/+3 upgrades. Kas lagging behind in that respect, having taken significant damage to his economy, not able to mine gas for the longest time. He's only on 2-2. Mana might even decide to actually go for it, but I would imagine he's going to wait for those Colossus and look for a 200 supply before he goes in. A couple more Zealots moving in for some harassment here. And that's going to be one dead observer, unfortunately. Mana doesn't spot that, but there you go. Mana a little bit blinder than he would prefer. Still proxy pylons in place for potential Blinkstalker play, but Mana is close to being maxed, and he's got 2 Colossus coming up. Should sort him out. And then, we're going to see if Kas can actually hold up against that. He does have a lot of Ghosts, but he has no Vikings to speak of. This is something you have to consider. This is the most important thing. It's a Marine heavy force. He's got no Vikings because he doesn't see that tech switch coming. He's seen a lot of High Templar, so he's thinking, well, that's what it is. But no. There's going to be 3 Colossus with extended thermal lance and +3 very, very shortly. And Mana is going to push. Will Kas be able to hold it? Moving into a defensive position, thinking that there's going to be an attack coming in on the 3rd. He may be right. The infamous Scouting Factory may actually spot that Colossus, but I don't think so. Quick Blink Stalker back there, but I think Mana is actually ready to go. Looks like he is. There we go. There's the scan. The Colossus have now been revealed, and instantly Vikings coming out, but this is the time when Mana really needs to go for it. Eats a huge storm in the center. Big damage. Ghost taken out there as well. And Mana has the opportunity to go for it, and he really, really should. He's got 2 Colossus. He's got a 3rd one just making its way across. It should be there any moment now. Of course, he doesn't want to let the Viking count get too high. Oh, the storm is massive, and huge feedbacks in the center as well. So a lot of Ghosts just popped there. Still 6 Templar on the field. Really wearing this Bio Ball down, and this is it. Mana's going to go for it, and Kas is going to have a lot of trouble dealing with this. And here he goes. Colossus doing huge amounts of damage here, but the Zealot count isn't high enough. Kas smells weakness. He goes for it. Doesn't want to be drawn into another storm, but there's actually no energy there on these High Templar for storm. Mana with an incorrect force composition there, not enough Zealots at the front, and Kas able to do significant damage as a result, but now 3 Colossi at a time coming out, and nowhere near enough Vikings to match up against that. Not even close. Funny thing is that Kas has actually stopped building Vikings. That's going to be a big mistake when he suddenly finds 6 Colossus down his throat. Not liking that, and Mana's once again maxed out, looking for another attack. Still no harassment attempts from Kas. Leaving Mana alone is the worst thing you can possibly do, and I think he's about to find out just why that is. There's a couple of Ghosts that are going to be instantly destroyed, and the majority of his force got out of position. The risk is, of course, that Mana gets surrounded and destroyed here. He sees what's coming. That's a lot of SCVs coming in. Storms are ready. Defensive storm deployed to make sure they can't get in there. And he's going to go all the way for the base, but he's been split in half here. He could very easily be destroyed. Another storm down. Lots of damage done. Needs to bring in reinforcements from the side here. If he can keep this Colossus alive and this force dies, it's looking pretty good. Archon at the front as well to buffer a lot more damage. Those Stalkers are getting instantly melted, however, but this force is getting crushed, and that's the GG right there. Nicely done there by Mana. Very, very good indeed. And what a scary tech switch, and Kas was absolutely not prepared for that. The Scouting Factory has failed in its mission, folks, and Mana is currently 2-1 up in this Best of 7 series. We'll be right back with yet more games from the Twitch TV Invitational Finals, brought to you by Thermaltake Esports, Playhem, and Twitch TV very shortly. Don't go anywhere.